Mr. Barker here. Mr. Folly here. Mr. Green here. Dr. Houghton here. Mr. Ellis
Here.
Mr. Rich
Here.
Mayor Goodwin.
Barely.
You have the floor.
Okay, so we had the invocation by. Okay.
Yeah, I wrote down my notes.
Well, since St. Patrick's Day is at the end of the week, and I'm Catherine Mary Francis, what else am I gonna do with an Irish blessing? So, may God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every care a promise, and blessing in each trial. For every problem life sends, a faithful friend to share. For every sign and sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know if you have any comments tonight, because we've got a lot of folks here this evening, but we're not taking comments on SDRs unless you're talking about technical corrections. That's all that's on the list. Okay? We have no staff reports. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Without objection.
Yeah, one's there.
Oh, well, he didn't put it down.
Sorry, Lee.
That's okay, let me get through this. Yeah, I'll come right back to you. Y'all just got reported, didn't you? Approval of the minutes, have a motion approved?
Yeah.
Any objections or corrections? Okay. Lee, you're up.
Yes, sir. Nothing about STR, sir.
Good.
This is just to officially enter the FY22 financial audit into the official minutes of the council. The council received the full report during the work session, of course. I just wanted to open it up one last time for any questions, should you have any, before partner Emily departs. Hearing no questions, we do have a resolution at 13-20 to offer the contract for the 4 years, addition to audit services beginning next year through FY26.
Green Penny and pull us out of a fire.
They did indeed.
All year long, so thank you very much for that effort.
Absolutely, yes. Our former auditors kind of gave us the boot. They didn't have the staff to do it, and they picked up pretty good.
And this will be on the website if you get insomnia and you don't have anything else to do. You can read this nice audit report. It's a book about what, 472 pages.
Not quite that long, but it probably feels like it was.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Personal appearances. Julie. In cooperation with Gina. Yeah, you might as well come on out.
Okay, you have in your packet some information about a request for a driveway that exceeds the 15-foot width that the ordinance provides for at 307 West Hudson. And this house is it's very close to the street because there are grand trees in the back. We wanted to save the trees. And it has double garages with a center stair, making a kind of a Y-shaped driveway, very awkward. And when the Y comes down to the property line, it's in excess of 15 feet. It just doesn't work the way a vehicle works. And so the 30-foot width is almost necessary to maneuver the vehicles and And so what is being requested is a full kind of H configuration all the way to the street so that both of the bays will function. And Jenna wrote a letter supporting it, and
Never gonna
other
get there.
precedent, there's no road behind this house, so there will be no other driveway.
Make a motion, we approve Ms. Henley's request.
Second.
I have a question for you though, the drawing, instead of flaring it out at the bottom, can you just come straight to the street?
That's really just for the turning radius. It could probably be tightened up a little bit. What happens if you don't do that? It just makes a mess. And it won't be paved. It'll be gravel.
So this, from the street, from I thought it was paper.
And yeah, the apron is concrete pavers, and
Yeah.
the rest is, the middle part's gravel, and then the apron and the garage doors is
To be,
Hang on a second. Come on up here. So, you're saying from the street to the property line is paper,
It's drawn a little
a little weird.
outside of the 30 feet, a little bit more than 30 feet. That's
Well,
what he's
the
talking about
ordinance
right here.
says 30 feet at the property line, and there's always a flare at the street, so that when you turn your vehicle, it's not, creating a rut there, because that's the way your wheels are gonna go, they're gonna go off the paving. So that's pretty standard. Every driveway has a
Yeah.
little bit of a.
If I may, what I understand is that each lot is allowed two 15-foot driveways. Because you were saving the trees or you moved the house forward closer to the main road.
Well, because there's no access.
Right, in the back,
clear
in the
and out,
back,
they
right,
have-
right,
yes.
have to understand it. So you still have basically two 15-foot driveways that are just close together. My understanding is correct.
How- Let's see right there in front of you. This is a-
And there's a 20-foot minimum according.
Right.
Right.
So as of right now, before even coming to you, this property can have two 15-feet driveways. If this is the property line, we put two 15-feet driveways here, they have to have 20 feet, where my pin is, for a car to go. That's no more or no less than anybody else in this neighborhood. If they reduce that 20 feet, and we lose that car, that's why this has to come to council. They have good reason to lose the ability to park a car there. They want to mesh this all the way together, so the car still has room to park over here. They're not getting any more than 30 linear feet than any other property. It's just the configuration.
Correct.
Which under this would still allow a car to park, still gives 20 feet outside of it.
And I did attempt to design with the 20-foot gap in the middle, and it, kind of looked like a bow-legged H, and it was really awkward. It would have been very awkward to turn a vehicle in that manner. So it kind of needs to come out straight.
Appreciate the effort to save the grand trees in the back.
okay, there's a lot I don't know, so, where are the owners? I mean, I think you're wonderful, but where are they
They are in Texas.
Okay, so they live in Texas, and this was just blank, and it was designed and created this way. So they were a part of a process that went through the city and designed it this way. So this is new knowledge that they're figuring out that they didn't want to build this way?
Actually, the driveway, that they have a permitted driveway that is 29 feet wide. And it was permitted that way, but this is a better design than what was permitted. The way that it was permitted, someone else drew it, not me. And, it was, there was like a guest parking space, and you'd have to run over the front stairs to get out of it. It just didn't make sense.
And I may be wrong again, but there's like a pool behind it, and then there's, okay, so they really took pretty much their land and used it, in all fairness. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Groom,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
No.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yeah.
Passes.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Ellis.
Ashby, there you are, once again.
Yes, you can pass those down the line.
No, I'm not, I'm gonna keep it.
Okay, all right.
There's no great.
DJ, you might have to fight him for no problem. All right, well, hello again. For those that don't know me, my name is Ashby Gale. I'm the paleontologist and owner of Charleston Fossil Adventures, legally operating tour company here in Charleston since 2016. Each year we hold our annual, this hopefully will be the 4th annual Easter Meg Hunt, which we joke is a science fair project turned Easter egg hunt. So each year we have roped off sections of the dry sand out on the beach for children to come out and find shark teeth that we have planted and other prizes in the sand, absolutely free. First year we had 500, next year we had 300. We reduced capacity just to make it a more enjoyable experience for all. So this year we are looking to come back on April 22nd with the event at 12 to 1:30. High tide that day is at 10:15. It's only a 4.9, so there's adequate space above the high tide line. To that end, we are working with the county park on the west end because our beach on 3rd West is rapidly disappearing. So it's already cut through half of the dunes there, and that's where we normally held it because of the facilities there at the 3rd West parking lot. So I've been conditionally approved for holding the event down at the county park pending approval tonight, and then a further meeting with them to kind of show how we're going to be using the space out there on the beach.
Make a motion, we approve Mr. Carroll's request.
Second.
You know, this is like Hansel and Gretel with the breadcrumbs getting to the house. I think this is, never had a problem with this process.
Nothing but problems from these guys.
It's all those little ones running around the beach.
That's it, can't control, herd cats.
Yes. Anybody else got a question or comment?
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Groom,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yeah, and if we need to talk to Mark or any of those guys, please give me a call.
Okay, all
No
right.
problem.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Warrior Servant Foundation.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, council members, excited to be here tonight. I'm sure you're excited to see me here once again. I don't have any more jokes about my hair being better than Andy's, but I do feel like this is closer than normal. The reason that I'm here is because when we applied for the ATAX grant last year to use this year, we applied in an effort to put on a surf competition. That's something that we are working towards and planning. One of the pieces of that planning is obviously having permission to have it on the beach. We would really like to have that at 101st West. It's the same place that Surfers Healing hosts their one-day event. It'll be a one-day event. We'll start it at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we like to have everything closed up by 1600. This surf competition is not going to be like your typical surf competition that have a lot of bravado and the ESA. We really want to make it super family friendly, so it's actually going to be a foamy competition. So we're going to have different tiers of what we call a foamy record classic, and they'll be able to have ages, 5 to 75. So you're welcome to come participate.
I have a couple of phone boards, Johnny.
Yeah, perfect. We also would like to
I'm
have.
not 75 yet.
I said 5 to 75.
Okay.
You squeak it in there. We also would like to have some vendors on the beach, similar to some of the other surf competitions in the past. I know that there's some regulations about vendors being able to actually sell things, so We obviously will not have them do that, but just to be there as sponsors and partners of the foundation. We believe that not only is this gonna bring in over 150 participants, we think it'll bring a lot of people to Folly Beach just to watch and to participate and really support our veteran communities.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
My only question lies in with the vendors, just make sure you understand they can't sell anything on the beach. They can sponsor and be down there as much as they want, they just can't.
Right.
Sell items. As long as that's understood. This goes to the event committee, I assume. This will like save the date.
That's what I would ask, yeah.
Yes.
That's, yeah, I thought that was a natural process. That's, so they're saving the date for this, and then you can talk with you guys. Any other problems, they'll come back to us.
Yeah, this is at least, the Saturday after Labor Day.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments?
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Groom,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. You. All right. Here, there you are.
Good evening, I'm Peter Mojado, and I run East LaSure School, and I'll be really brief because I think you guys hit a lot of the points on the head of the work session in terms of moving that date to September. And yeah, just planning with marketing, registration, and especially staffing, that would be a huge help. It would make more sense on our calendar year, as well as our planning with Warrior Surf and Low Country Orphan. All that's happening December to kind of right now in a typical year. So we would appreciate that extension, and I think it would make a lot more sense. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Citizen comments.
John McFarland, 1780 Chelwood Circle, Charleston. I apologize for being a dark cloud. Sooner or later, I'll come with something funny. I want to talk to you tonight about hotels, specifically about 103 East Erie project, and then hotels in general.
We vote on hotels tonight?
No, I should, no.
Mr. Chairman,
May I
is
finish?
there anything on the agenda about
Yeah,
hotels?
we're not talking about hotels.
Okay, let me pivot and give me 30 seconds more. I would appreciate if you would allow people to make comments across the new projects and new ideas. Otherwise, no one would be able to come and offer anything new. I'll send you a letter on it.
We get emails every day with
Understood.
people's ideas.
Yeah, and the website has a spot for them too now. Any other comments?
Why are you making me so nervous?
Piece of cake.
Woo, okay. All right, my name is Melora. I own Serenity Tree Yoga. I'm just, in case, I know you guys were talking about it in the earlier meeting about extending everything, grouping everything together and doing it till September. In case something changes and that doesn't happen, I'm not gonna be here in April. We've got a spring break trip planned with my son who's leaving for college, and so I can't cancel it, but I am here and I love what I do and I appreciate you guys so much for allowing me to teach and do what I love and be a part of this community. So I just wanted to be able to put a face to the business so that in case I can't be here and I'm supposed to be here in April, I try. But thank you guys. Thank you.
Anybody else?
And I wasn't around, there was a comment at the beginning about short-term rentals. I want to make a quick plea about my vacant property that
Where do you want to make a plea for a short-term rental on your vacant property?
well, I've got a vacant lot that I purchased 3 years ago. It was my family's dream. My wife and I.
Well, I tell you what, there's a place on the internet, you can click on it, you can send your information, you guys get all that information, and then what will go on down the road will come from those information emails that you get on the internet. That's the way to do that.
Okay, I've submitted a few things, and I understand you guys are kind of reviewing some amendments to that. Is that
Well, they're not reviewing them yet, but they're reviewing the emails
okay?
and requests.
Okay, I just want to make sure if I had not saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead and please make that plea. So.
When the amendments come up, that's when we can talk about it.
Okay, that sounds
All
great.
right.
you very much.
Anybody else? Mr. McKellar, I can't believe you're not gonna say something. We're talking about you, we're talking about you tonight.
Not a word.
Okay.
I'm just here to listen.
So we'll go to, ordinance 001-23, an ordinance, this is the second reading of ordinance submitting Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, chapter 113. Section 113.05, distribution of funds by amending the language governing distribution of local accommodation tax funds within the general budget and beach preservation fund. Have a motion for approval? So moved. Have a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? Mr. Foley.
Mr. Farley. Yes. Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes.
Passes.
Resolution 6-23 was put off to this time. There's a resolution from the Folly Beach City Council awarding a contract to provide paid parking and parking enforcement services. The staff recommends PCI Municipal Services. Have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
One directed to staff. When it comes time to award the contract, I think it's important to include a provision for audit so that we don't take on face value the vendor's submission of receipts. I don't believe that's something we've done in the past, and we may not in the future, but better that we have the right to do so for one.
Any other comments, questions? Vote.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Farley.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes.
Passes.
Ordinance 003-23, ordinance submitting Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, chapter 117, short-term rentals by adopting technical amendments to the language implementing the short-term rental cap as approved by special election. Have a motion for approval?
Moved.
Have a second? Y'all have any more questions past the work session?
The only thing I want to say is just to pass some comments on both sides. And, this was a neutral way of writing this ordinance so the referendum language matched our code language. That was not confirmed that again tonight. After our meeting the other day, it was not written just go one way or the other. It was written right in the middle, just to combine two languages together. Saying that once again because everybody thinks there's conspiracy theories. There's not. It also makes things more customer friendly in the end game. So that's where we're at with that.
Any other comments?
So, I mean, just for clarification, that we're not waiting until the 800 number gets reached to establish the waiting list, right? On number 3, on the last page.
No, sir, last time we spoke, we don't have to do it right now, but we're not gonna wait that long. But we've got, just like the other amendments we talked about making, we don't have to do them now. We're not gonna wait a year, but, let's get some more feedback before we go put stuff down in paper.
We want to create a list that's correct and workable.
Right, but we're not gonna wait till.
No, we're not gonna wait.
I got it. I just wanted to say that because I've had people call me and, I kind of agree with their concern if that was indeed going to happen, because that would be some, that would just be an unfixed variable out there for the market, but it's going to come sooner. The wait list procedures adopted by city council is going to come sooner. In other words, we're not going to sit around and wait till the 800 number.
Just understand, in the process, when a wait list is created, it does not speed up the process of getting to the 800 cap or below the 800 cap for anybody on the wait list to get anything as a license.
Okay.
So that's not gonna, the wait list being created tomorrow is not gonna speed that up for anybody on the wait list.
Absolutely.
As long as everybody understands it.
I don't think they do, but.
Okay, any other comments?
So we're voting on just technical cleaning up, nothing's changed.
That's right. So we had the work session, most of these, a lot of these folks were here for the work session.
Yep.
Okay, I do have one question, for staff. Page 19, letter D4, in red, owner occupied short-term rental business licenses terminate upon the loss of 4% property tax status, and are non-transferable. Why do we need to include that?
To clarify that.
Hang on, to clarify that if you lose your 4% tax status, then that license goes away and is not transferable to anybody else. And the 4% tax status or 6% tax status comes from Charleston County. It doesn't come from us.
So if I own a property and it's my legal residence, I think is the term we're using now, or
Right.
just using not primary residence, and I decide to move from the community such that it's no longer my legal residence, 4% claim, I would lose my owner occupied short-term rental license.
Correct.
And I would not be eligible to have an ISTR.
No, you'd be eligible for the wait list.
Because we have a cap.
That's right.
So in effect, that person who had a license before the passage of the referendum would not have the ability to rent their home, even up to 72 days.
If it's not their legal residence anymore, and they lose their 4% through Charleston County, and Charleston County reports to us their tax status has changed, then that's the way it goes.
So my interpretation of Save Folly's Future and Folly Residents Association was that even if you don't qualify for an ISTR, you always have the right to rent your home for up to 72 days
Nope,
per year.
that's wrong. It was only if you had that residential permit, restricted permit, or non-restricted, as we used to say. If you had a restricted permit, that meant that was your residence, your primary residence, or your legal residence now. That's the way it was. That's the way, always the way it was discussed.
Explain that again.
Different from my interpretation, but
Well,
I also
I'm
heard,
sorry.
we can agree.
Explain that again.
But I also heard it said previously that to the extent you possess a short-term rental license, and we only had one classification in the past.
No, we've always had two.
Have we?
Always.
OSTR?
Yeah. And the cap vote didn't include 4%ers and 800
Yeah, I
cap.
understood that part.
So it's always been two.
Okay, so the notion of if you possessed, you could continue to maintain in a grandfathered status is accurate, other than in this circumstance.
As long as you maintain the status quo,
The
when you
qualifications.
lose your qualification, you lose your qualification.
Of either one of them.
Of either one.
So, kind of going on our conversation, this feels a little bit more dwindled down.
Nothing's dwindled
My
down.
specific situation.
Nothing's changed.
That doesn't feel as broad.
It is broad.
Okay.
Because, and we'll just say it right now, because you are in the same field as every other 4% renter. If you lose your 4% tax rate through Charleston County, you're just like his description.
So this doesn't benefit me
Doesn't benefit you
directly enough to have to recuse my vote.
Doesn't benefit you one way or the other.
All right.
Other than, you already got your license, you already meet the status quo, as long as you keep it, you keep it. If you lose it, you lose it.
I guess I was under the impression, apparently, that Mr. Parker was, that before it was just having a short-term rental license, and we did differentiate. You just had, if you were a 4%er, you could only do it for 72 days, but a short-term rental license was a short-term rental license. And if you had it, and you, before the ordinance, you had a short-term rental license, and then you decided to move, you could rent for 365 days.
But in the vote cap, it says specifically that 4% short-term or restricted rental licenses aren't counted in the cap.
Right. But
so you can't increase the number by allowing you to transfer over to a different one.
But my point is, if you had a license that was unqualified, after the ordinance comes in, I didn't realize we were going back and requalifying them as a less
It was
included
qualified,
license.
it was qualified in the referendum. We're not requalified, it was qualified in the referendum.
In other words, if you had a ISTR to 6% before the referendum, and as long as you stay in good standing, you can always renew.
You got it.
You can't transfer it.
Right.
And it's the same with the 72-day 4%ers. But the referendum didn't affect the
permanent residents
4%ers.
because you were restricted to a short number of days to rent. I'm assuming that's why they did.
The referendum didn't address the 4% renters, right?
Yes, you're not in the cap. In the referendum, the 4% renters was not in the 800 number count for a cap.
But we're
The
telling
800 number count for a cap was all 6% renters.
Saying is we're telling folks that what was a license that was good for 365 days before the
No, it
ordinance.
wasn't good for 365 days before because if it was your legal residence, you couldn't rent for
Wait
72
a minute,
days.
wait a minute. That's not what I'm saying. If you had a license before, you could convert it by yourself to a 365-day license.
You had,
No.
if you changed your qualifications with Charleston County.
They didn't differentiate.
But
The city didn't, here,
But you
let me
could.
say, can I just weigh in? The
Short-
city didn't differentiate if it was short-term or long-term. What happened back then, what happened is the county determined if you're 4% or 6%. The city didn't even have any knowledge of any of that or
A short-term rental license was a short-term rental license was a short-term rental
Yes,
license.
yes,
And the individual could by themselves tell the county on a 6%, that short-term rental license then became good for 365 days without any action from the city.
yes.
Now, after the ordinance is passed, you're saying that if you're a 4%er and you had one of those undifferentiated licenses before, that now becomes only a 72-day license.
Yeah.
And you don't have the ability to convert it.
When the
back.
property changes from a
Yes.
4%, it becomes an ISTR.
Yes.
That's
So-
right.
So that to me doesn't feel like a grandfather.
And that's the people
It's
that
not.
stayed in compliance. People that rented over 72 days and kept it as 4%, didn't say anything. It's a huge system out
hang on
there.
a second.
County can't
One
keep
thing,
track.
the referendum had nothing in there about grandfather anybody for anything. And you are stuck with the referendum. So,
Not the referendum. I agree, what you're saying is accurate, I fully agree, but
well,
there's a difference between, I think,
well,
some of
you are
the.
right this minute, so. Unless you come up with an amendment and vote for it.
But you're right, Mr. Farley, what you're getting at, it's not the same for somebody that was previously a 4% renter. They cannot change to a 6%, and now they're gonna get in the wait list.
And let's get back on track, that's not what we're talking about tonight.
Right.
No, but we need to clarify this. If we're working on amendments and we're collecting stuff, I think a lot of people rushed before the vote to get an unclarified short-term rental
But
license.
they didn't, there was a moratorium, no licenses were issued.
Before that.
Okay.
Before that. There was sort of a rush when it looked like it was all coming up for people to get short-term rental licenses because they believed that would have given them a transferable short-term rental license.
Go ahead.
So absent number 4, strike it. Okay, number 4 doesn't exist. Today, if your property changes from a 4% to a 6%, and you come to City Hall the next day to get a 6% license, you are under the cap. That
What?
is how the ordinance functions. This is clarifying that so people understand it. Because as we just discovered, there seems to be some confusion about the conversion of a 4% to a 6% license. Strike number 4 from this paper. The language of the cap today authorizes 2 types of licenses. One to owner-occupied homes, which are defined as primary residences claimed by documentation, and one as investor rentals, which are 6%. So if you move out of town and your property changes to a 6%, and number 4 never existed, and you apply for a license, you will be denied because we are over the cap. Number 4 is just clarifying what this language already created and putting it down in a legible form. Number 4 is not changing the function of the referendum as passed. It is clarifying the process. So if you would like to amend that, you will in effect be amending the referendum by allowing 4% owners to convert their licenses to 6% licenses. And that is a political decision for you guys.
But by state law, we can do that
Oh, yeah.
all day
But
long.
that's why you're collecting information from people right now. And you said you didn't want everybody to get 400 emails, so Wes is collecting them and distributing them to you,
Where?
so you can think
Where?
about
Where's he collecting them?
on the internet.
Is he? What part of the internet? I'm
Where is
curious.
So,
Because it's not what we asked it to be.
Tell them where it's at, Wes.
Citizens can send in their comments at comments, with an S, comments, at follybeach.gov. I'm collecting them. I have a special folder. We will be distributing them to council with your names and comments Friday every week.
And is there a link on the
There's a
website?
link. If you go under who's in the city, contact city council, on the right-hand side, it says contact all city council. Click here, you're gonna click there, and it takes you to comments at City Folly.
So when they click, email all of council, now it goes to your comments page and not to us individually.
Yes.
Because I tried it the other day, and it was like, oh, it's clicking all of council, I'm like, that's not what we wanted at all. So I just want to clarify that's what we asked to do, and let's make sure it happens.
Yes, and with that also, there is still, if someone needs to contact you, there is still that.
Oh, no, I know, same thing happen.
Yeah.
So I've got something to add to that, but it's not germane, so I'll wait to council comments, because
I just had to get that out because it's an opportunity.
I just think that y'all ought to advertise it. Y'all ought to go out there and poke people and tell them, now's your period. This is the period that you suggested,
Well,
right? The input period.
You can send that to city council people, tell them to use their own social media to advertise if that's what you're talking about. Let's get back to where we are.
And there is a shareable post on the city's Facebook page. It was announced on Friday, the same day we emailed it to all rental property managers and to you guys and to a general list. So beyond that, I don't know how we can publicize it, but it is there for you guys to share on your own personal pages.
So to follow up on what Karen had just said, if someone possesses a 4% OSTR license, which allows them to rent up to 72 nights per year, I don't think there's interest from anyone to allow that to be converted to an ISTR, which you can rent for 365 days per year, which of course would circumvent the referendum vote. It does sound to me like there might be interest in allowing someone who possesses a 4% OSTR.
But that's not what we're talking about right
Well,
this minute.
but it might result in an amendment.
Well, if you can result in an amendment later, you got an amendment you're gonna make that now?
If you're making it right now, make it to strike number 4 completely, and then you don't have to worry about it, then it takes out what's new. And then we can make that amendment in a couple months with the rest of them.
And then number 4, doesn't matter if you strike it out or not, just as Aaron said.
Right, let's proceed.
Oh, well, no, I got an amendment. Here you go. Number 4, owner-occupied short-term rental business licenses terminate upon the loss of 4% property tax assessment status and are non-transferable, semicolon, however, comma, can be changed to a 6%.
Does he have a second? Thank you. Let's move forward.
Yeah, so I would like to propose we strike 4.
All right, you got a second?
I'll second.
Comments, questions? As I say, everybody in the audience, understand this. You strike number 4, hang on a second. You strike number 4, it changes nothing. Nothing changes about the ordinance. You still can't transfer from a 4% to a 6%. Everybody got that?
But we can come back to it in the future.
And you can lose your business license if you go past, if you lose your 4%.
Okay, I just want to be clear that before I entered into the room, I promised everyone that I spoke with, nothing was changing This was just technical tonight.
Nothing's changed.
Okay, cause I'm like, I promised everyone.
Nothing's changed.
Okay,
With number 4, without number 4, nothing's changed.
okay.
All right, let's vote this.
Strike number 4, Mr. Rich. Yes. Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
No.
Mr. Green.
No.
Dr. Houghton.
No.
Mr. Ellis.
No.
Mayor Goodman.
No.
Then why all the commotion about it for the last 15 minutes?
Hey, let's just move forward. Back to the original ordinance. Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes.
You're kidding me.
004-23, an ordinance amending Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, Chapter 110, business regulations by prescribing the contents of certain notices, establishing procedures for appeals, hearings, this is appeals hearings, setting time limits for appeals, related actions. You have a motion for approval? This is the first reading.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And this is all about getting the appeals hearing done in a timely manner, and the answers back in a timely manner.
Well, it doesn't matter sometimes about the time as it does the hearing officer, because like in the last couple of days, I'm been made aware of a situation that I guess an appeal came and the hearing officer is only going to do what we as a body set forth, which was the moratorium, which had those people to where they couldn't renew their business license. And they came to talk to the hearing officer who said no, because, you know, we set forth the marching pattern. So maybe it should be that we should be hearing the.
I'm gonna remind you that y'all, the city council, not y'all necessarily, but the city council voted to hire a hearing officer so you would not be sitting here trying to make judgments with political interest. The last time we had one of those was Sunset K, and everybody said, oh no, we don't want to do this again. We want to get a hearing officer, unbiased, to sit there and listen to both sides and make a decision.
That's right.
The issue is with what you're talking about is they're following the laws that we passed. We haven't included the amendments that we're talking about doing in the future would include those parameters for her to work within. So
Right.
that's where those things would come into. I already second, but once we get those nuts and bolts done, then it will. And then if we're like what she does, you hire a new hearing officer.
Well, we need to have a grace period for the people that fell through the crack, and we need to tell them because they're out there freaking out.
There's a whole different process.
I know, but we need to tell the people that
We're taking public comment on all the amendments.
All right, guys.
they don't know that.
All right, enough. We're gonna get back on track.
Okay, but what
This
about?
has nothing to do with the hearing officer not hearing or somebody falling through the crack. This is setting the procedure for the hearing officer.
Agreed.
All right. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk?
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes.
Passes first.
005. Oh, there it is. Ordinance amending Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 1868.5, non-conforming signs. Excuse me, allowing the replacement of non-conforming signs when replacement lowers the amount of non-conforming square footage, but does not exceed the maximum number of allowed signs.
Motion to approve.
Second.
How about a motion to remand the planning?
All right, I'll withdraw my motion and make a motion to remand the plan.
Okay.
This is when we remand, this is pending, correct?
Yep. But be careful, don't take pending meaning, oh, because this is opposite of what it usually is. Usually it's pending you can't do something. This is pending you can do something, but I would be careful and not run out there and do anything until it gets passed.
Right.
Just to keep your money safe. All right.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Mayor Goodman.
Yes. a step that way. Ordinance 006-23, ordinance amending Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, chapter 153 of Folly Beach Code of Ordinances to require approval from the Special Events Committee for weddings on public property with more than 25 participants, including attendees. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, this just falls into line with everything else. When you have events that you have to go through the Special Events Committee, these weddings, because we're like the last of the Mohicans that let them have them on the beach, pretty much, have grown and grown and grown. How many applications we got? Over 100? I mean, how many do you know off the top of your head? How many you got already? Nine. For 9 weddings with over 100 people, so you know that's ridiculous. So, alright.
The only comment I'll make is I think 25 is too low of a number, and I'd rather see us do just fee implementation. I mean, you want to throw it off to get 100 applications, raise your fees, and then they'll have to be serious about it. I mean, I don't think we should lose the opportunity to show off the beach. I think 25 is too low. I mean, you can have 26 people, and you can have up to 50 to gather, and you're federally cleared. So that's why we've used that number 49 and under. So 50 is a better number if you want to do something like that in my mind, but 25 is probably too low.
Well, if you get more than 25 chairs on the beach.
Well, it doesn't say chairs, it says people.
I know, but I'm just saying.
It says people.
I know, I got that. But if they got more than 25, they can go to the Special Events Committee, and those guys can say, okay, this is what you gotta do. Right now, they're like not fees for, they just walk out.
We're gonna have to hire a Special Events Committee.
Got one. You got one.
We're gonna have to hire more people to cover their job.
How did bureaucratize love? Who are we to regulate love?
I'm not regulating love, I'm trying to regulate the population on a beach dwindling every day.
Okay, so I'm not gonna touch that. But it is my understanding that if it goes over 25, it goes over to a process. You look at it, and then it goes from there.
It will from here,
Yes.
it don't right now.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah.
This makes it do that.
Yes. That's my understanding.
On page 29, down about halfway down, you have 4, and the last thing of 4 says, an event whose participants significantly exceed the estimated number of participants in the event application may be denied future approval. Is that the only penalty, or is there a fine that goes along with that?
Not right now.
And then would that be addressed here, or is that in another ordinance where we set a fine? I think there should be a fine, instead of just.
We can definitely bring that back to a separate ordinance next month.
Well, you might wanna put that in, if you have fees, if you decide you wanna charge fees for weddings on the beach, then you would put the fine into whatever, to go along with doubling or tripling a fee or something, I don't know, whatever you think they're doing.
I just think there ought to be a penalty. But a lot of folks only get married once.
Yeah, and that's because number 4 was originally.
Some people only get married once.
So without the amendment, number 4 is written to apply to all city events. So that would actually exempt weddings on the beach from being denied in the future. So number 4 reads, the sponsor of an event that requires city approval without amendment, blah, blah, blah. If it exceeds the number, it can't happen in the future. It could be denied in the future. So this says, an event that requires city approval other than weddings on the beach in the community center of Folly River Park shall provide the total number of participants and may be denied in the future. So weddings on the beach don't have an opportunity to be denied in the future because they're exempted from number 4, basically.
Just to not go with your 25 chairs, 25 people, houses that have parties, they need approval for more than 25, if I'm not mistaken, is that right? So this ties in one of the problems that they were having is people would have 50 people at the wedding, and then everybody go to the house, party house, then you got 50 people there. So now this ties in those two together, so you limit that at 25.
I hear you, if that was private property, you have a federally protected legal right to gather up to 50 people. After that, you have to have permits and everything, but you have a legal right to gather under 50 people. So you're kind of cutting that down. So for a wedding, it's going a little far, I think, about my mind. So I will make a motion for amendment, number 7, that we change 25 to 50.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Joe, is there, does that make sense, moving up to 50, if that's our bright line distinction for your right to gather in the crowd, or are we in good straits to make that less than 25, your right to congregate?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You looked at this with the house, what?
That's
we
private
put that-
property. We're talking about public property or.
What was the house number? I'm trying to remember what we
The house number is
settled
25.
on. 25? Cause it was getting, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I want to look at that a little more carefully if there's a difference between a house and a private property. Honestly, I don't think that.
We did that before. This is just talking about wet people on the beach.
Yeah.
So, you're saying what we did before, you wanna look at it, or what we're doing now, you wanna look at?
No,
Because we're not talking about houses.
I know.
Okay. I thought you said you were tying to that, I'm like, well, we've done before.
So am I
So-
hearing that the attorney would like a little bit of time to do some research?
Well, you can.
If that's the excuse for moving this up,
You can, this is just first reading, you can make an amendment on the second reading. Come back and say,
I can't, but I already got it on the floor now.
Well, I'm just saying if it makes it or if it don't make it. All right, any other comments?
So on the amendment to change
25.
25 to 50. Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Farland?
No.
Mr. Brooms?
No.
Dr. Houghton?
No.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
No.
Amendment fails.
Okay, back to the original ordinance, 006.
Mr. Rich?
No.
Mr. Ellis?
No.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Brooms?
Yes.
Farley?
Yes.
Barker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes. First.
007, ordinance section 151.4, Folly Code of Ordinances by changing the reference to the opacity requirements from shading coefficient to visible light transmitted. Eric? Eric worked with the state?
Yes, sir, we did. DNR, the turtle, the lady from DNR. What we found with some of the short-term rental stuff coming up in compliance with the beachfront properties, that our ordinance is kind of outdated. It talks about shading coefficient, which I think made sense at the time, but the whole industry's gone to visible light transmittance is the standard for protection. So we want to change it so it doesn't say shading coefficient. We want to say visible light transmittance of 45% or less.
Okay, with that explanation, I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So, question, to the extent that an owner or occupant had their lights on at night, with this shading coefficient opacity requirement, would that not result in a fine for turtle lighting
If you're
purposes?
45% less of the VLP, you're compliant, even if you leave the lights on the beachfront property.
So to the extent that a homeowner were cited for having their lights on, if they could point back to having satisfied this requirement, that would go away.
Correct.
Any other question?
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Brooms?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin? Passes. First.
Resolution 11-23, a resolution causing the city council authorizing distribution of $3,961.20 held in the city's National Night Out Reserve account to be used for 2023 National Night Out. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Anybody question? Second, please.
Second.
Barker,
Yes.
Harley,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Dr. Hooton,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodman,
Yes.
passes.
Resolution 12-23, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council authorizing the amount of $800 from the council discretionary account to purchase professional photographs of each council member to be hung in council chambers. Have a motion to approve?
So
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is this photographer? Is this photographer having
So
the
here's-
capability of making you look better?
So here's the background on this. I became the poster board or sponsor for this amendment in part because I noticed when we renovated this space, some year and a half ago, we lost our council member plaques, like the one Mr. Ellis is holding up. So
Which was, sorry, I'm doing like a joke, which was fine, but now,
So we got a little bit ahead of ourselves in that new plaques have already been ordered at a cost of $200. The ask within this resolution is for $800, which includes professional photography. I've since learned that we don't need to spend $800. It can be constrained to $550, and that will get professional photography for the 6 of us. I'm sure we can include the mayor to the extent you would like a refresh photo.
No, I don't want to keep you young ones.
Okay. As well as a group photo Wes was thinking about using on the new city website for just additional content. So the ask is $550 in total for the frames, which we've already purchased, plus an additional $350 for professional photography.
A total of how much?
$550.
Well, you could probably subtract.
Why don't you just say, make this resolution for up to $800, you can go from 0 to 800, you only spend $550 then. Make an amendment for that.
So,
That way if it gets to be
up to
$557.
up to $800.
Yeah.
That's what.
Okay, so you're already in good shape. I lost my resolution somehow.
But Wes is gonna keep the $550.
Okay. I got 2, so I'm gonna go through. Yeah, it does say that. Right there. So you're in good shape. You can go from 0 to 800. 45 seconds.
But Wes is gonna keep the $550.
Yeah.
we're gonna look fabulous.
200, which is already been
No,
spent.
550 don't get you to look fabulous. It's just your 800 gets you to fabulous.
Or should I spend it before we approve it?
All right.
Mr. Rich,
No.
Ellis,
Yes.
Dr. Hooton,
No,
Bruce.
Yes.
Farley,
No.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodman,
I love spending that money. Yes.
all right.
13-23, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council awarding the contract for city external audit services for fiscal years 2023 through 2026.
Motion to second.
Any questions, comments? I will make a comment that Green Finley has done us a great job in the past. And as I said earlier, they pulled us out of the fire this year. So I'm looking forward to working with them in the next year or so.
They're clear, very clear. They did a very good job, very, somewhat easy to read. Not that I don't sit down, but it puts you to sleep with it.
Well, yeah.
But it's a good package. They really did a nice job.
And in contrary to popular belief, the city of Folly Beach is in good financial shape. Contrary to what you might hear on the social media, we are doing good. Mr. Pope.
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Dr. Hooton,
yes.
Mayor Goodman,
Yes. Resolution 14-23, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council increasing the fee for approved non-franchise commercial activities on the beach from $250 to $500 annually. Have a motion to approve? Have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments?
I thought we were letting this die because we were postponing the non-franchise with the franchise until the end of the year. So it's not necessary.
It is necessary once you go to non-franchise later. If you award a non-franchise.
I understand, you missed a work session, we were talking about it, we're like, well, if we're gonna do that, then we don't need to do this one right now, we can wait and add it in with everything else later. Is what we talked about in the work session. That's okay. Table it. Just vote it down.
Just vote it down, or
I mean,
whatever.
it's gonna come
Or
back
vote
up
it in,
later.
Whatever.
Or I'll make a motion to postpone
Till when?
until we get
Gotta have a
our
date.
ducks in a row.
Gotta have a date.
Till we get the franchise,
When we gonna have it?
till September.
September 2023. So motion to postpone, have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? On the postponement?
Second will be too tight, Aaron, for.
Well, our goal was, we're extending the others, we're lumping them all in until December, and then approving the new ones in September. So the current ones can go through December, but the new ones are approved in September so they can start.
So should we set the fee in August instead of September?
So if you wanna wait till you have everything at one time, you're gonna have to do it, be ready in September.
August may work better, unless we award them in October.
We still do it, but I think August might give us a little bit of flexibility to set them in August and then have them implemented in September instead of coming in the second week of September, and that's the same time people are trying to apply.
If the new people don't take over till January 1st.
Are you okay with that? Amendment to your amendment, changing your amendment from September to August? Second. You okay?
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Ellis? This is to postpone until August 2023.
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Broom?
Yes.
Farley?
Yes.
Barker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodman?
Yeah.
All right.
Go along with that, resolution 15-23, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council extending the expiration date of paddleboard and surf camp franchises from May 2023 to September the 30th, 2023. Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Do we have the amendment put forward to include non-franchise commercial beach businesses and extend to December 30th?
Yeah, who is that?
So combining these two is what allowed us to postpone the previous one.
Where do you want to see it?
I think it would be in the title and just the, no.
Make another whereas.
Mhm.
I make a motion that we add another whereas to include non-franchise beach activity to proceed through December 30th as well.
Second.
So this is on the amendment. Any questions on the amendment?
Second.
Well, well, I mean, that just changes what was on the, agenda where somebody could have had city, kept a resident citizen's comment, cause now they're included in it.
change anything that was said earlier. All it does is give whoever has permission now has permission to the end of the year.
Okay.
Anybody else? Mr.
So on the amendment, Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Broom?
Yes.
Farley?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
You have to do a budget change on it, because that would be monies that would have been receivable in this fiscal year, that won't be receivable until next fiscal year.
I'll sit down with you and we'll figure it out.
It's pretty small now considering the overall franchise.
At least got some more foot through the corner.
We know it'll get absorbed.
Might be some of
But
those.
it's much harder.
So we gotta look at doing that for next year too. So that, don't forget that in the process we're going through.
So, back to you.
Back to the original.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Broom?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Rich? Yes. Mr. Goodwin?
Yeah.
Passes.
Y'all talk about it? Okay, so resolution 16-23, the resolution to, by the Folly Beach City Council, to award a contract for development of an Arctic Avenue plan to AMT for the amount of $118,000.
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Probably the motion.
Yeah, you made the motion, right?
Yeah.
Me or Adam at the same time.
Alright, thank you.
Go for it.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Broom?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes.
Resolution by the Folly Beach City Council awarding the contract for services described in the Folly Beach City RFQ 01-23. And the 2020 Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities BRIC grant for West Indian and Cabby nuisance flooding mitigation. Have a motion to approve. Have a second.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Farley?
Yes.
Broom?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin? Passes.
Mr. Groom, council comments?
Yes, we have, the Exchange Club is doing a luncheon for Public Works, tomorrow. And, we're actually doing luncheon at 12, but we're asking people to bring side dishes at 11:30, drop them off. For our Public Works, we're making an award for their, Employee of the Year. So Eric and Kyle and all the crew will be there. Drop by.
So when does the short-term rental, moratorium end?
It's done.
It's already
It
in.
ended as of February, 5 days after February 7th.
Okay. So the hearing ordinance denied the appeal because it was all because of what? Is that,
I
it
don't
wasn't a
know.
moratorium.
I
I
don't
said
know.
that earlier. I'm trying to correct
I don't know.
myself,
I
but
don't know which one you're talking about, because there's been several, and they've all been
different
reasons.
circumstances. So I'll just suggest that out of a spirit of compassion and empathy, that we create some type of, grace period for the people that fell through the cracks, so to speak, to, get their business license. And what can we do, Tim?
I'm not gonna argue the point with you tonight, but.
I don't wanna argue
so,
any time,
so,
not
no,
tonight,
no,
or tomorrow.
I'm just saying, some of the folks that say, oh, I fell through the crack, they fell through the crack in 20, 21, 22, I mean, how many cracks can they fall through?
So there's other parts of the
yeah,
story that
there's-
we didn't hear.
As Paul Harvey would say, there's the rest of the story that you need to get on the backside too. But anyway, those are amendments that you're gonna be working on sometime.
So you guys got this stuff. You know, the little individual, there's about 4 or 5 of them out there, I think, right?
I don't know, how many hearings have they had so far? 3, 4? 3? And a couple more pending.
All right, I hate to see somebody really put out over the process.
And again, I'll say, remember, the process was set by council because they didn't wanna be the people sitting up here hearing the stories, saying, oh, I don't wanna make this decision because I don't wanna make this side mad or that side mad, and I can't make a decision. You know, you can't split the baby, kinda like Solomon did. It makes it tough. That's why that toughness went to a individual.
The hearing officer.
Right. Mr. Farley?
Well, look, I just wanna also say that I do live on the city of Folly Beach. I have. At Meet Candidates Night, I said I could live in St. Louis with my girlfriend. Y'all were there, but I don't live with my girlfriend in St. Louis. That's going around. That I don't live on the beach. I do. It would be nice sometimes, but I miss all this. So, and then, just I want to say one other thing, council. It was nice to represent y'all in City of Folly Beach in the state of South Carolina and Washington D.C. lobbying for health insurance reasons, and a lot of people know us. People from all over the country. They know Folly Beach.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of senators and congressmen, that's for sure. Mr. Farley?
Happy St. Patrick's Day Friday. Thank everybody for coming out. I'd like to shout out the 2 friends that are recuperating now, Dan and Sam. And hope they and anyone else who's recuperating from an illness do very well.
Thank you.
Just 2 comments. It's Women's History Month, so celebrate that in any way you can. And I want to recognize, I guess, the resurgence of the Park and Rec Committee. I think it's a great thing. We're working on certain projects. Hopefully it'll come back around and involve the city, but I think that's a really good thing, and I'm pleased to be the liaison and look at green space.
For those observing St. Patrick's Day, have a happy and safe holiday.
Who would
Have
not?
a nice night.
Who would not?
Who would not what?
Observe St. Patrick's Day.
People that like to be miserable
Teetotalers.
and spend most of their nights on.
Got a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.